Okay, so exercise number 1 is going to be the spine twist. Nice basic Pilates exercise, very versatile in how you actually do it. It can be done sitting, you can do it in kneeling, you can do it in standing. Principles are the same, it's just slightly different. What I'll probably do, I'll do sitting and then I'll probably do standing as well, just to kind of go through the basic principles. I quite often do a mixture of both in my Pilates classes. This is where Pilates bottom might come in handy. If you really struggle sitting cross-legged, tight hamstrings, what to do is just pop a sitting block in underneath you. So your sitting bones, those two bony bits kind of in your bottom, you want them sitting on the block. You want to feel, there we go, that's there. You want to feel equal as you're doing that. Some people find that just helps a little bit, allowing them to sit up tall and get their pelvic neutral while sitting. Okay, I think I might actually just keep that block in there for now. Okay, so spine twist. So this is a mobility exercise. One of the things we do the kind of Pilates, though it's a bit strengthening, we also need good mobility to move well. So that's why quite a few of these mobility exercises are in the exercise that are taught. So a spine twist, you can again vary the arm position, but what I'll do the sort of standard, and then I can show a couple of variations. So taking your arms, you want to put them in a sort of Cossack position, okay? Again, you want to be in your pelvic neutral, getting your centre set, engaging that pelvic floor, transverse abdominis, those deep core muscles, okay? Making sure head placement, so wanting to make sure that we're nice and long through the neck, we've got our helium balloon pulling us up, shoulder blades pull back and down, we're not flaring up at the rib cage, okay? Quite simply, all you're doing, twisting to one side, back into the middle, and come out to the other side. Now, key points to note, if we're adding breathing into this, what we usually say, inhale to prepare, exhale as you turn, inhale to come back to centre, exhale as you go out the other way, and inhale. Now, sitting's slightly easier with this exercise because what we want to do is make sure our hip bones continue pointing forward. Okay, so that's us engaging the core. We want to make sure our rib cage isn't flaring up. We want to keep our head placement. Like I say, easier in sitting. When we go up into standing, I'll probably need to do, my head's slightly chopped off, but that's fine. Again, feet about hip width apart, engaging the centre. We can have our arms crossed, or if you want a bit more of a stretch, you can do your arms spread out. I'm not going to have the space for that, but if we do that and standing, you can instantly see my hips wanting to turn to give me more movement. Keep the hips still. What I sometimes find, if I'm turning to my right, I'll try and almost push my hip forward slightly just to counteract what it's wanting to do. So there we go. I'm turning to the right, I'm keeping my hip pointing forward. Same going to the other side. Okay. Like I say, nice basic exercise just to get a little bit of spine mobility. So that is your spine twist. So keeping with spine mobility, I'm going to now show you arm openings. This is probably one of my favourite exercises that was taught with APPI. It just feels so good afterwards, and I've sort of given it to quite a few patients and they've said they love it. So arm openings. This one's actually done lying on your side, so we've not actually been in that position yet, but what we usually need to do to help stop our neck kind of falling down, you want to have either a thicker head cushion or really roll up that towel, fold it a few times just to make sure, like I say, that's stopping my head kind of being pushed up or falling down. So keeping your head in a nice neutral alignment just as best you can. When we're lying on our side, I've got my knees bent, my feet are in line with my bottom of my hips, which is in line with my back, so I'm not curled up, I'm not overly extended, okay? What I say to focus, you can put your heel, your bottom and your back all along the edge of your mat, just to make sure you're in good alignment, okay? You want to have your arms on top of each other. I would still try and engage that core, so what I usually say to people, you don't want to be slopped into the floor. Have a little gap in between the floor and your kind of side. You want to imagine you're just trying to lift that up a little bit, okay? Keep your hips pointing forward, stacked one on top of the other, don't let them flop about too much, okay? Fingertips touching. What we're going to do, you're going to imagine you're drawing a rainbow, okay? So you're lifting this arm up. Follow your gaze with your hand, okay? As you open up and coming back down. So what we're getting with this, we are getting that nice little bit of sort of upper back rotation. You will also feel you're getting a bit of a stretch in that shoulder as well. If you're like me and you've got particularly tight pecs, this is a really nice one to do, and it's quite a nice kind of active mobility. This is actually level 1 of the movement that we're doing, okay? If I was wanting to progress it slightly and go on to level 2, what we get people to do is to create almost like a circular movement with their arm. So taking your top arm, circular movement, almost as if you're doing backstroke, reaching back, coming round, okay? So the other thing that you can do is go the other way. Scoot down, back and round, okay? That's arm openings, like I say, getting a bit of that rotational movement, nice stretch on the front here. When we're sitting for long periods, this is where we get tight. So it's just encouraging us to open up a little bit, okay? And that is your arm opening. Okay, so again, I'm keeping with the mobility aspects. We are going to do thread the needle as the next exercise. So again, looking at kind of rotational movement, but this one's done in a kneeling position. It's not actually one that's in the manual, but it's just one of these exercises that I really like, so I thought I would add this in. And quite often we do it in Pilates, and we have gone over it in my courses, though it's not officially in the manual, but definitely one I would recommend. So don't need a head cushion, but you will want your mat, just something nice and comfy to lean on. Your hands want to be in line with your shoulders. Your knees, you want them in line with your hips, so we don't want to be out like this, we don't want to be in like this, okay? So you're in nice all fours position, okay? What you do, taking one arm, this is actually my right arm, it might look different on the video. What you're going to do, lift it up, you're reaching through that gap between your left leg and your left arm, reaching through. You can drop this arm a little bit, just to allow you to get that little bit more rotation, and coming back through. I'll do it on the other side, just so you can see from that side. So I'm taking my left arm, I'm putting it through this little gap, I'm getting that rotational twist on, I'm bending my right arm just so I can get a little bit further, and coming through. That's your thread the needle. If you want a nice little addition, my foam roller's propping up my iPad, so I can't really show you that, but if you have a foam roller, you can roll it as you're doing that, just to give you that little bit more of a stretch, okay? So that's a nice little additional tip that you can do, okay? So that's the 3 exercises then, we've got 3 to go. I'm going to move on to strengthening with the next 2, okay? Okay, so next exercise I'm going to do is called the Dumbwaiter. So this is a strengthening exercise. Can be done sitting, I usually do it in standing actually when I do it in classes. It can be done on its own, or if you have a resistance band you can make it harder, so I will show you with both. So for this exercise I'll be standing up. We're working on the muscles again in between those shoulder blades, so again important postural muscles, also working on kind of opening up the chest. So if we are doing this in standing, again same principles, feet hip width apart, find your pelvic neutral, set your centre, make sure our rib cage isn't flaring up, shoulder blades back, nice wide collarbones, neck nice and long, think of that balloon pulling you up. Elbows bent to 90 degrees, palms facing up the way as if you're holding 2 plates, okay? All you're doing, we are externally rotating our shoulders, bringing our arms out of the way, keeping the elbows tucked in, we don't want them coming out of the way. We do not want that rib cage flaring up, okay? Turning out the way, coming back in. As you're doing this, you want to maintain some tension in between your shoulder blades, okay? Making sure they're not coming back round, keeping them pulled back. So if I even turn around, I'm not sure how well we'll see with my hair. As I turn out the way, My shoulder blades are being squeezed quite close together. I'm keeping my arms in, but keeping that bit of tension in so they don't fall forward. Okay. Like I say, if you want to make it a bit harder, get a resistance band. Again, holding it, I usually hold it with my thumbs, pretending I'm holding a couple of plates, turning out the way, coming in the way. Obviously, if the more resistance there is on the band, the harder it will be. Or give yourself a little bit more slack. It feels a bit easier. Make the band a bit tighter, take less slack, and that's a lot harder. Okay. And that is your Dumbwaiter, also sometimes gets called silly waiter, which should help strengthen the muscles kind of at the back of your shoulder blades and also try and open up in here. Okay. Okay, so second strengthening exercise. This is going to be breaststroke preparation. So I will go over level 1 and 2. This exercise is done lying on your front. You might see me kind of lifting my head up during it just so that you can hear me clearly and you're not getting me muffled kind of speaking into my mat. Extra equipment that you might want for this. Obviously your towel folds up thinly. We don't want your neck to get pushed up. If you have little weights, these are little Pilates weights, but in the virtual classes my clinic have been doing, we've had people holding tins of beans, bottles of water. I mean, these are just a kilogram. So your bottles of half litre bottle of water is half of that, which is absolutely perfectly fine. You can use bottles of wine or bottles of gin if you're that way inclined. So, whatever you've got in your house, you can use. I'll leave those there because I might actually use them. So, level 1, lying on our front, keeping the sort of key elements going. We want to find our pelvic neutral, engage your centre, nice and long through the neck. You will find your shoulder blades drop down for this, but that's fine just because of the position we're in. We are going to activate them with the exercise. Okay, so lying down in our front, head on head cushion, nice long neck, find my pelvic neutral, engage core. I do find this more difficult lying on my front, so if you do as well, don't worry too much about it. Initially, just practice rocking pelvis backwards and forward and engaging and trying to maintain that. Okay, so hands down by my side. What I'm doing, inhale to prepare. On the exhale, I'm lifting my shoulder blades up and reaching my fingers. Inhale to hold, exhale to lower down. So if I'm going through the movement again, so I inhale to prepare. On the exhale, lift shoulder blades up, and then I'm reaching my fingers down towards my toes. Okay, holding for an in-breath, exhaling, gently lower them all down. You should feel this sort of on your lower shoulder blades. It does work quite hard. Level 2 is the next stage, and all that changes with this is a slight lift of the head, okay, while maintaining that nice length in our neck. Okay, so if I go into level 2, I'll also use the weights just so you can see me doing it with weights. So lying down on our front, inhale to prepare, exhale, shoulder blades up. I'm lifting my neck up ever so slightly. Inhale and exhale to lower. Okay. So that's the 2 levels. Hopefully you can see that okay and hear me okay. If you want to make that harder, one of the things that you can do, like I say, adding weights, or you can add little pulses when you're at the top. If you do that with weights, you'll definitely feel your shoulder blades afterwards. Okay, so that's the 2 strengthening exercises. Really good if you're working on a desk, mainly because these are the muscles that we're generally not working, the ones that are pulling us back. If we don't keep them working, what can happen is they can lengthen and get weak. So we want to keep them nice and strong. And like I say, they can help prevent particularly shoulder injuries, so very good to work on. Okay, so last exercise, we're going to do a hip twist, and this is at level 2. So this one is in the APPI manual. It is it's a really nice one just for getting your lower back moving. In particular, it works from disassociating your kind of lower back and your pelvis from your upper back, your thoracic area. So this one's done lying on your back, almost in rest position, slight difference. So you want to have a thinner head cushion, just in behind your head. Instead of having your legs at hip width apart, we want to have them together, okay? We still want to work on our pelvic neutral, so let's just find our neutral, engage those core muscles. Have your arms kind of flopped out to the side, so it's quite nice and relaxing this. Knees are glued together, feet are glued together. All you're doing, rotate your knees down to one side, keeping those feet glued together, keeping our shoulders down on the floor. We don't want to roll up the way. Only go as far as you feel you can maintain that. If you feel that shoulder's popping up, don't go any further. Bring the legs back. You want your abdominals to do that. We don't want just to flop and use momentum, okay? Nice and controlled. Use those obliques just to bring those legs back into the middle. And then doing the same again to the other side. Keeping those knees together. And then bringing up. If you're wanting to do breathing for this one, I usually say exhale as you lower down. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. Okay. Like I say, really nice moving one if you find your lower back's been a bit sore, it's getting a bit stiff, particularly if you've been sitting a long period. Have a lie down. Do that a few times. See if that helps loosen things off. Okay, perfect. And that's us done all of our exercises. So obviously this has just been very, very brief intro to Pilates. If you were looking for a lot more information, I'm happy to answer questions on the Facebook. If you either give it a comment or message on the main page, Corgi will be able to give me a shout and I can either just reply to the comments. Like I say, very brief. If you are interested, I would recommend having a look. In particular, obviously my style of Pilates is sort of physio based. If there's any physio clinics in your area that are doing classes, recommend you checking them out. Obviously my clinic, Heal Physiotherapy, is in Dundee, which is maybe a bit of a trek for most of us, being in Fife. But if anyone's up now through that area, feel free to check us out. Biggest thing, shouldn't feel pain doing any of these exercises. If you do feel pain, just stop doing them. These are just designed to kind of get you moving a little bit. Like I say, bit of a stretch, bit of discomfort as you're moving into it, okay, but I don't want any lasting or any kind of sharp, nasty, acute pain. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something from it. I am willing to do more of these Pilates videos for Take Part Tuesday. If you have any particular areas you want to work on, so for example, are you wanting more abdominal work? Are you wanting more glutes work? Are you wanting maybe some more mobility style work? You can either comment on this, give the page a message, and like I say, I'm sure Corgi will let me know, and I can easily do videos for those. Hopefully it won't take as long as this one, because we've covered quite a lot. But anyway, for now, take care, stay safe, and hopefully see you all at the club again soon. Bye.